You're listening to episode number 2 of the Wise Photographer podcast. In this episode, we're talking all about the power and importance in finding your photography niche. We'll be discussing why it's the key to increase joy and profits in your business, going over steps to identify your niche, and what to do when you get inquiries outside of your specialty.
Welcome to the Wise Photographer podcast with your host, Chelsea Wise. Each week, Chelsea is bringing you the best tips and tricks to help you create a joyful, profitable, more purpose-filled photography business. Chelsea is a wife and mom of 2 who has built a thriving photography business in her tiny hometown in western North Dakota. Without further ado, here's your host, Chelsea Wise.
When we're just starting out, it can be so exciting to shoot anything and anyone we can get in front of our camera. I think it's necessary to shoot a little bit of everything when we're just starting out to really find out what your niche is and where your passion lies. How will you ever know if you're a magic baby whisperer if you never try your hand at newborns? And you're going to have to second shoot a wedding or 2 before you can decide if you can handle the pressure of only getting one chance to get the shot. Here's a list of all the types of sessions that I've photographed in my time in business. Family sessions, newborns, milestones, cake smashes, seniors, weddings, engagements, event photography, family reunions, vow renewals, professional headshots, passport photos, aerial photography from a private plane, real estate photography, wildlife, and nature. I think the only thing that I haven't photographed is boudoir. I don't really have an issue with boudoir, I've just never tried my hand at it. I realized pretty quick out the gate, however, if I tried to do it all good, I would never be really great at any of it. My first adventure in figuring out what my niche was family photography. This is where I really developed my shooting style and my editing. In long run though, it just wasn't where my heart was. So I tried my hand at senior photography. I went to workshops, I rented out a studio, I offered full hair and makeup services alongside my sessions. I loved my seniors, but the scheduling aspect was a nightmare for me. My makeup artist was coming from 80 miles out of town, and it was just not fun trying to get everyone there at the same time. And I really didn't love how hard the girls were on themselves sometimes, and it was starting to take a toll on me as a photographer. I photographed a few weddings at some pretty low prices right away. Then I jumped into wedding photography. I photographed a few, and it wasn't until my 5th or 6th wedding that I really found my stride. Y'all, I freaking love wedding photography. I love being part of the planning process, helping them to craft timelines that have these little hidden pockets of downtime that might allow my clients to kind of sit back and enjoy the day. And I love running into my couples at other weddings in our small community. It happens quite often. It's always so much fun to catch up with them and hear how life is going. And then my husband got sick. God's hands were certainly all over that situation in so many different ways, but one thing that I'm so grateful for is the fact that all of his surgeries took place in the winter. Not many people are getting married up here in North Dakota in the middle of January, where the weather can be negative 60 degrees wind chill. On a side note, I totally thought that word was windshield for way too long. Anyways, during that time, I watched as our own wedding vows were put to the test, in sickness and in health. Going through that 2-year struggle of Justin's heart surgeries and infections gave me a renewed love and appreciation for my work as a wedding photographer. I was blessed and honored to photograph 2 people as they stood before God, their family, and friends, vowing to stand side by side through it all. It's so beautiful and scary at the same time because we have no idea what lies ahead of us. Our partner could get diagnosed with cancer. We could struggle with infertility. You could lose a child. You could have multiple bad years in farming. But with all the downs, there are certainly tons of ups as well. Buying your first house, getting a new puppy, even those lazy Sunday afternoons around the house. My charge as a wedding photographer is to document the day this adventure begins. It took me a while to find my calling and narrow down on my niche, but it has helped me to build a business that is more profitable, more enjoyable, and certainly more impactful than I ever imagined. I truly hope that every photographer is able to narrow in on what they're called to do and who they're supposed to serve. So let's start on getting you narrowed down on what you're supposed to be photographing. So Webster's Dictionary defines a niche as offering a product or service that appeals to a small, specialized section of the population. Basically, when it comes to photography, you're choosing one type of thing to photograph and going all in. Let's go over some of the advantages of niching down. One of the biggest advantages in niching down and finding a specialization is the ability to charge higher prices. This means that you can make more money shooting fewer sessions. You'll get more time and space to deep dive and refine your craft. You'll also be able to invest in the equipment that's going to help elevate your business. And this means that you can charge for your expertise. By charging more, you can make more money in less time, leaving more time for you to spend with family and friends. It also means that you can become more efficient at what you do. You can start to create workflows that get images turned around quicker, nail your editing style, and create email templates that streamline your booking process. By making things more efficient, you can spend less time behind your computer and more time enjoying your life. We'll get right back to the podcast, but first, the sponsor for this episode, Trello for Photography. Trello for Photography is an online course that walks you through how to get the most out of Trello to organize your client workflows, keep up with your blogging schedule, and ensure that you never forget what day you're in charge of snacks for the soccer team. No matter if you're a portrait photographer, wedding photographer, offer in-person sales, or digital only, Trello for Photography has a workflow board for you. Having an amazing workflow process that you can replicate over and over is the key to creating raging fans who are singing your name anytime someone's looking for a photographer. Inside Trello for Photography, you'll gain access to my favorite boards, including boards called the 30,000-foot view, Step into my office, and my most used board, My Week. The My Week board actually is where you're going to plan everything that needs to get done each and every day of the week. It's seriously the only way I'm able to keep up with my business, kids, and the housework. You'll gain access to videos walking you through how to use each and every board. Best of all, you get complete lifetime access to boards and updates. Just copy them to your account and start saving time and actually getting things done. Never question whether or not you ordered that album for that wedding client or spend hours searching for a PIN number for a gallery that someone forgot. Best of news, Trello for Photography is just $29. You spend more than that on a single manicure. To find out more and enroll, head over to TrelloForPhotography.com. That's TrelloFor photography.com. The next advantage to niching down is that you can get crystal clear on who your ideal client is and start speaking directly to them in all of your branding and marketing. The right marketing and branding messages are going to attract the perfect client and repel the wrong ones. This is going to make your life and your business so much more enjoyable. So, how do we actually start to niche down? I hope that I've at least piqued your interest in starting to niche down on the types of sessions that you offer. And now it's time to figure out what it is that you want to be photographing. Like I said before, I really do think that you need to photograph a little bit of everything in the first year or two to get a feel for what you like, what you don't like, what types of sessions get you the most excited, and what comes the most natural to you. I've actually created a worksheet to walk you through finding your niche, and I'll link it in the show notes below. This worksheet is going to ask you some of the following questions: what you've already photographed before, what sessions were your favorite, and if there's a market for it in your area, and how you can get even more specific. You'll be amazed just how far you can niche down. Let's say, for instance, that I wanted to be a family photographer. Some of my favorite family sessions have been on family ranches, producing images that not only showcase the love that a family shares for each other, but also the love for the land that's been passed down from generation to generation. Can you see how I can create marketing messages that are going to attract ranch families who believe in preserving the Western lifestyle? These messages are certainly going to repel other clients. Again, to download this worksheet, you can head to the link in the show notes below and get your copy. So now that we've identified what your niche is, it's time to start removing everything else. My first piece of advice, once you've figured out what your niche is to only showcase what you want to shoot. This means that if you're specializing in weddings, you need to remove everything else in your portfolio. So head on over to your Facebook and remove any albums or images showcasing families or newborns or seniors. The same goes for Instagram. In Instagram, you have the option of archiving posts or deleting them. The next step, however, can be a little bit harder than this, and that's when you have to actually turn away work. Are family sessions getting you excited? Awesome. Then when someone inquires with you about shooting their wedding, it means you're going to have to refer them on to someone else who specializes in weddings. And that can be so hard. I get it. My best piece of advice here is to come at this with an abundance mindset. This means that there's more than enough for everyone. Even in my own tiny town, we have about 1,500 people, and we live in the middle of nowhere. I mean, seriously, the closest Walmart is like 50 miles away, and the closest Target is over 80 miles each way. I would have to shoot 4 sessions a day, 365 days a year to photograph everyone in our town. Y'all, I do not want to work 365 days a year shooting 4 sessions a day. Can you imagine the editing on top of that? No way. There are more than enough people, even in my tiny town, who are wanting photo sessions. But just because I'm capable of doing something doesn't mean that I actually want to be doing it. I have to stop and ask myself sometimes if I really want to be shooting a session and all that goes with it, and oftentimes that answer is no. Niching down doesn't mean that you can't shoot anything outside of your niche. Sometimes it's fun to step outside that box every once in a while. Maybe your little sister just had a new baby, or you only offer family sessions to past wedding clients. The key is to not advertise these things. I actually just photographed a newborn session for some dear friends of ours as a baby gift. I mean, secretly, it was just a great excuse to snuggle the newest member of our gang and get my baby fix in. But it was also a really good reminder for me. I do not have the patience to photograph newborns. After that session, instead of posting any sneak peeks on Facebook or Instagram, I just shared the images directly with the family and let them post them on social media. So in conclusion, what we talked about today are the questions that we need to ask ourselves when we're trying to narrow in on our niche. Remember, you can check the link in the show notes below to grab your copy of the Niching Down worksheet. Some of the benefits for niching down include the ability to raise our prices. By raising our prices means that we can make more money in less time and leaving more time for us to spend with our friends and family. It's also going to help us get clear on our marketing messages so we can attract our ideal clients. Finally, the last benefit was that we can become more efficient. We can create workflows, email templates, and really streamline the entire process to ensure that we are not spending our entire days behind computers, but instead enjoying our lives with our friends and our families and watching our own families grow up. Remember that we need to have an abundance mindset when we're referring to others. It can be so hard, and I totally understand if that has you feeling a little on edge. Go ahead and hit play on the next episode where I am talking all about the comparison trap and how to avoid it. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to episode number 2 of the Wise Photographer podcast. I cannot wait to see you in the next podcast. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Wise Photographer podcast. Dive into the show's notes for this episode and all past episodes at www.thewisephotographer.com. If you loved the show, share it with a friend. Thanks for tuning in, you Wise Photographer, you.